Welcome at the FIRA in Toulouse, France, on the stand of Pixel Farming Robotics, where we are working together with the team. The young professional team is working real hard down here and making new things. We are here to introduce Robot One, the 2023 edition of our great machine. So I'm gonna take you through our system as we walk along. So this is our booth. This is the team with the new setup. So I think I'll walk around to the new machine because that's the thing we really want to show today. This is Robot One, the production version as we deliver it. It's a machine that's able to work on a field width of roughly 3 meters in this configuration. If we can reconfigure it because it's a 4-wheel drive system. We can reconfigure it simply by pushing the button. That's Luke, our operator today. He has reconfigured the machine to work at a 3 meters 50 working width, as you can see right now. This machine, as it is right now, it's driving in to work in that direction. As you can hear, it's a very quiet machine. It's electrically powered, 4-wheel steering. 4-wheel drive, yeah. So you can see it can turn. You can make turns when you drive it like that. Can you show that, Luke? When it's driving, as you can see, you can turn like that. But one of the funny things of this machine is because it has 4-wheel steering, you can also have it drive. Can you show that? We can try to see how. As you can see, it can also move sideways to be oriented in the right direction to try to drive it to the field. So that's a way to do it. So that's quite nice, as you can see. So another feature of it is that you can transport it in the length way. So you can also simply, and that's a really beautiful thing of a 4-wheel steering system. So simply by pushing a button, you can drive in length mode. This is normally what we call transportation mode, so you to drive on and off field, or to move from one lane to the next. Of course, you can also work in that direction, and in that way, and maybe we can walk on this side to show you the width of the machine in this way. When you would work in this direction, you would have a work bed of 2 meters 20, which is at least in the Netherlands on tulips, it's a regular bed size. You can also in this way turn it around to be able to work in a field width of bed width, actually, of 1 meters and 60 to 1 meters and 80, depending a bit on the tire size you're using. So that's really funny to be able to work like this with the machine. So that's one way to work with it. So if we go back to the other configuration, look, we can show, because it's not just a machine which has 4-wheel steering and driving, but it also has 10 individual arms. Like a human has 2 arms, this machine has 10, and each arm can move individually, as you can see, up and down and left and right at a relatively high speed. So what you can do is you can make all kinds of motions around the plant, because that's the general thing that we want to do with Robot One. We want to take care of individual plants. So what it does, it has cameras in this beam, both in front and back, and with that camera, it can see where the plant grows in the field, and then make a decision using AI what it will do with each individual plant, whether or not to mow around the individual plant or to remove it, actually, to cut it down. So this is particularly interesting if you have 2 different crops. You have an undercrop or a cover crop, and you have your dominant crop, and you want to keep the canopy a little bit and keep your main crop standing there. So that's possible. Can you spin them up? So this is one of the ways to work with it, and as you can hear, it's a very quiet machine. It's very simple to operate, and like this, you can actually process plants that are on the soil or remove them. And because it's a very it's a smart system with the cameras, you can actually move the knives up to 1 centimeter close to your crop, making it very easy to be very precise in managing weeds or crops very close to your main crop. This is something that's very hard, of course, when you have to do manual driving, but because it is a programmable system, you can manage it in a relatively simple way. That's one of the things with this machine. Another thing with the machine, it's running on GPS RTK to be very precise on the positioning. It also uses the camera system to be even more accurate with the position detection. So you can come up to 1 millimeter precision by combining GPS RTK with vision positioning. So that's another advantage of this machine. For the energy supply of this machine, this is a solar powered machine with a battery inside. So on the top of it, there are 1.5 kilowatts of solar power. This is stored inside battery packs. In this case, there's 11 kilowatt hours of battery available. The batteries are swappable in case the solar power is insufficient, which is not the case in this lovely France right now because it's great weather. But in Dutch weather conditions where we are originally from, there can be a heavier weather. So you might not always have solar power available, so you use the batteries. The machine uses roughly 800 watts to 1 kilowatt to do regular operation, which means that under sunny conditions, you get off field with the same energy as you went on the field. This means normally you operate an 8 to 10 hour workday with a single charge. So that's quite convenient for normal operations. You don't have to recharge. If you would have to recharge, this would take roughly 10 minutes to swap the batteries and get new ones. So that's for this part of the presentation. With the machine, normally I would ask a lot of questions, but now I'll move on to the next part. Let's go to the second robot one we have down here. So that one was configured to use mower heads, so the streamers. This robot one is equipped with 10 laser modules, CO2 laser modules of 100 watts, which are designed to burn weeds that it sees. So in this case, there's a, I believe it's lake with some simulated weeds between it. And what happens is that the cameras look down, detect the weeds, and you can show it on the. We can show it later on in the camera or on the remote display that this robot had. And then when it sees a plant, turn on the laser, 100 watts, and you basically burn down the weed. Now, this is the beauty of this way of removing weeds is that you don't touch the soil, which means that you don't, because you don't stir the soil, you don't start new weeds. Because normally when you use a hoe, every time you stir the soil, you bring seeds to a new location, allowing them to start again. Now these weeds, yeah.
Arend, please stay a little bit closer to our booth because of the Wi-Fi. Otherwise, we will have a bad connection.
All right. So let's walk to the other side. Is that okay? So we'll stay a little bit closer to the booth. I hope you can hear me now. So we're going to go down a little bit to look underneath the machine. So down there, you'll see the white flame. That's actually where the plants are burning the laser is burning the weeds. Now here, the weeds are pretty big actually for a laser. You should get them when they're smaller. So this laser is very effective when leaves are in or plants are in a 2-leaf stage, because when they're this big, you need to put quite some energy on the plant to kill it off. Also, this soil is pretty dry, and because it's very dry, the heat doesn't conduct very easily, and you want to basically sterilize that part where the weed is growing to stop it from from growing actually. So now this machine right here, it has 10 laser arms on it. So 10 laser modules of 100 watts each. The funny part is when the power consumption of this setup is approximately 200 watts per unit, which means that you have 200 or 2 kilowatts of power used while driving. Now, solar power is roughly 1.5 kilowatts. So you just use 500 watts to run the entire machine, or you need 500 watts. This means that this configuration with these 2 battery packs can run 4 to 5 hours on a single charge, and then you might need to swap the batteries, or you might, and then I'm going to walk to the induction charger, you can simply insert the induction charger into the slot that's on the side of the machine and have it recharged. Now, if you are in the onboarding program, which we have when you start using this machine, we can program the machine to automatically go back to its charging station and recharge itself in a similar way as you know with a lawnmower, which goes back to its own charging station. So that way you could have a fully autonomous farm maintenance system actually. So that's one thing that I'd like to show you with this setup.
Can you,
so
Arend?
Yeah, please.
Can you tell something about how the machine is learning what weed to remove and what not?
Yeah, let's walk back to the booth, because there's a nice video setup of the way that it works. Down here on this screen, and I hope it does the reflections, you know, where you have a great camera, the left side down there, you see what the plants actually that we were burning with the laser. You see the setup, what it sees down here. So when you can remotely look into what the robot sees and teach it by pointing out these individual plants and telling the machine what the plant is. So whether it's a cress in this case or it's a leek, and then you can tell it to remove the cress in this case and leave the leek alone. Now, teaching the machine new weeds on new soil types is something you need to do. Normally, this might take a long time to do, but with our software setup, it is possible within 4 hours to teach the machine a new leek or a new plant type. So that's roughly the way it goes. I hope I give you some impression of what our new machine is and the way it works. There's of course way more to tell, but I think it's easier if you do that if we do this in person. When you are interested in using a Robot One, or when you start, when you would want to buy one, the way this works is normally you enter our onboarding program. The onboarding program is a 2-year program where in the first year our engineers go with you to teach you how this machine works on your farm. So our engineers go to you to help you do it, and you are standing along or working along with them. The second year or the second season, it's the other way around. You operate the machine, our engineers support you when something goes wrong. And then the third season, that's actually the season that you're on your own. You have our remote support, of course, who log in with you to help you when there's trouble. And usually there isn't, but that's roughly the way we want to help you assist getting the machine to work on your sites. So that's roughly the way the onboarding program works. Now, what I personally really like about working with robots as a conversion with tractors, so what you have with a robot is what you see down here. You can check and see in his brain what it is thinking it will do remotely. Well, we're not on the field in the robots yet there, but we can see actually what is going on with the machine. And this means you can work with it basically from everywhere. You could even check more than one robot from a single station. So if you have more robots working around the world, you can actually monitor them right away. This means when you have a field specialist or a crop specialist, they can work at multiple areas in one time. Yeah.
We have a question. How many acres or hectares can one machine work per hour for laser weeding?
Yeah. So the machine is designed to work 1 hectare per hour. It runs 1 meter per second. So when you have a bed width of 3 meters 30, you end up at 1 hectare per hour, top speed. On the other hand, the laser heads can fire roughly 100,000 times per hour currently. Depending on the type of crop that you're working on, you end up either with 100,000 fires or with 1 hectare per hour. So what we see in reality is that you'll work roughly at a 10 centimeter per second speed to 15 centimeters per second speed when you work with laser. So this gives you roughly 2,000 to 3,000 meters per hour. Square meters, that is. This is an answer to the question.
I think
if you type it in the chat, that's okay.
I'm waiting. Mr. Pinko, how about the security for the eyes?
Yeah, that's a very good one. In this case, you see an open it's an open system, and normally if you would work with laser, you would see that the laser arms would be lower to the ground, and we would have defocused lens on it, and we would have flaps hanging down to maximize security. Another thing that would happen is if you would be operating the laser, is that when you are near the machine within 5 meters, it will stop. So there's when working with laser, there's a lot of options that we use from the machine to avoid calamities. So yeah, I didn't mention that, but when we can we turn with the machine? If you look at the machine, there you see the black parts down here. There's 3D cameras down there. There are 6 of them in total on the machine, and they look they form a picture of 15 meters in around the robot, and they detect if there's somebody walking there, and then you can make a decision. And the funny part with this machine is that you can have it automatically stop as soon as it sees anything like an obstacle or a person, but you can also make exceptions. So for example, when you're an authorized engineer, it can know you and recognize you, myself, for example, in person, then decide to allow me to come closer, which is quite nice when you have to operate the machine all the time. It would be quite annoying if it's who's constantly stopping if I'm trying to work with it. On the other hand, if somebody else would walk in nearby, we would have it stop. So let's go back to the booth. Is there
okay, that was clear. We can if you have any more questions, please ask them now.
Yeah
I think it was clear, Armand.
Now then, I hope I informed you correctly. Please come back online with your questions, or give us a mail or a ring, and we'll be happy to answer them to you. There will be an agenda or a calendar where you can actually see Robot 1 in person. I can imagine you were not in France in the FIRA, but we will be at several other locations in Europe to show the machine. So I'd love to see you down there. Thank you for your time. Hope to see you soon. Bye-bye.